Good morning, everyone. This is Erica from In the Company of Cards, here with a Monday edition. Welcome to all of you who are here, and welcome back to those of you who've been here for a while. Welcome to all my new subscribers. Delighted to see you here. I know a lot of you have come over, you've migrated here because you watched my conversation over the weekend with Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. I'll tell you something. Meeting her was terrific. Talking to her was even better. I think we felt as though we knew each other from another time. That's how instant the connection was. So thank you to Marianne for steering people my way. I really appreciate it. So, for those of you who don't know what I do here, I read Lenormand. And Lenormand is traditionally a 36 card system, very different from tarot. I call it a word language. My book is called The Language of Lenormand. So if you'd like to read that, that will get you up to speed on how to read Lenormand. I have a course available as well. I also do personal readings. So all of that you can find information on if right under my video and all my videos. If you click the More button, that will take you where you need to go. I use a single deck, and this is my own deck, and I have busted open a new copy of it for the new year, and in honor of all of you new subscribers who've shown up. Thank you to the people who came over the weekend. I had reached 25,000 subscribers, and so as a thank you, I did an hour of reading in the morning and then an hour of reading in the afternoon on Friday. And these were free 5 card readings. I'll do it again when I get to 50,000. So let's keep growing, shall we? Um, but thank you to Marianne for that conversation. I've read all of the comments that have come to me as a result of that conversation. I have taken note of all of them and appreciate people who took the time to comment. Um, and so let's get this show on the road, shall we? All right. My voice, by the way, for those of you who will be tempted to say, "Oh my God, what's wrong with your voice? Are you sick? Can I send you Reiki? Can I send you tea?" This is just my voice. So it is what it is. Okay. A couple of things. Well, a few things. Uh, First off, I just want to get this out of the way. I had read the last time I actually read cards for you last week. I saw that neither Tulsi Gabbard nor Robert Kennedy Jr. would make it through um, the final rounds, the vote. Tulsi Gabbard is meant to be national security head, and RFK, of course, is meant to be head of Health and Human Services. Um, I saw that there would be Republicans who had reservations about both those candidates, and of course, the Republicans have the majority in the House, so that's what's important. So I just want to give them a last look because I think they both come up for a final vote. I think tomorrow. At least they're going to be voted. There'll be votes as to whether they move forward in the process. And moving forward would mean that they move from the committee to to the full Senate vote. Um, so let's do ladies first. We'll look at Tulsi Gabbard first. I'm going to use the older woman for her just because I want to. And what I do is cards are shuffled, and I flip through the deck one by one until I get to the card that I'm looking for. Then I pull the 2 cards that came before it in the deck, 2 cards that came after it in the deck, and see what there is to see. So I just want to look one last time at Tulsi Gabbard's nomination for, National Security Chief. It's ridiculous. Okay, here we go. Um, okay, so we're looking for the older woman. She popped right up. This is a brand new deck. It feels good in my hands. So this is Tulsi Gabbard. And then the two cards that come to the left of her go there. Two cards that's to the right of her go here. Okay. I am going to say, and again, I'm just reading cards. I could be right, I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. We have the fox, the tower, Tulsi Gabbard, the moon, and the cross. If you've been following along, you probably already know what I'm going to say. A lot of times, for those of you who are new, people who don't know Lenormand, the more you watch these videos that I do, the more you will learn about how Lenormand works. So she is not trusted. This is the card for, among other things, somebody who's kind of shady and not to be trusted. Now, I hate to say it, but I didn't create the system. I just read it. This is also the card for foreigners. And remember that part of the accusation about her is that she's a foreign asset of Russia and of Assad, who's no longer head of Syria, but certainly was. Um, I think that this is people's perception of her being a foreign asset. When I say people, I mean the people who would vote, the senators in committee. Uh, Here she is in the middle. They are concerned about her reputation and what they've heard about her. And because she is perceived as untrustworthy, her nomination will be scuttled. I do not think Tulsi Gabbard will move ahead. I think someone else will have to be nominated. Okay. So that reading is consistent with what I saw last week. Why did I read again? I'm always telling you that energy is mutable and free will is a factor, and not just our free will, but the free will of all concerned, right? And so things can change on a dime. And I was just curious to see whether things had changed on a dime. In fact, no, she is deeper in the hole that she has dug herself by not refusing to acknowledge Edward Snowden as a traitor. That turned a lot of Republican senators off. But at any rate, she is not trusted. She will not move forward. That nomination will not move forward. The second nomination, which really is of great concern, is Robert Kennedy Jr. I know a lot of people like him or say that they like his stances on vaccines. I think he speaks with a forked tongue about a lot of things, entertainment purposes only. And didn't know the difference in the committee hearing between Medicare and Medicaid. That's a big problem. Uh, Medicare is what those of us who are retired, that is what supplements our medical care. Medicaid is for people who are without a certain income level, and it provides for their health care. But they are different plans, different programs. He did not know the difference. But there are lots of other issues about Robert Kennedy that would make him an inappropriate pick, we'll just say, for a Health and Human Services chair. So I'm going to use the older man for him, and we will see what his future is in terms of this position. Okay. Okay, so we're looking for the older man. And I'm using a cloth. I mentioned the other day, this is more of a want than it is a need, but I think it'll keep the cards, it'll preserve the cards better if I work on a field. So, and I like a black field. It just makes me sort of feel as though this is sacred space that I'm working with here when I use a black cloth. It's not necessary to have a cloth, but I'm doing it this time. So we're looking for the older man. Don't know if he, okay, I thought maybe with all my chatting, I had missed him. Now, this is interesting what's happened. I told you that what I do is I look for the card and then I put it in the center, put the two cards that came before it, and then the two cards after it, and that gives me a line of five. Well, here what's happened is that the card I was looking for that will represent Robert Kennedy showed up as the second to last card. Okay, so that means that it will be there's only one card that I can put after it. So I put that down and then I put the cards that come before it. And then I only have one card left in my hand to have turned over, and it's that. Okay. And again, we have the dog, the mice, the key, the man, the coffin. Okay. So here's the thing. Even people who were on his side, were friends of his, are falling away from him because the mice eats away at the card before. Okay. So even his supporters and his friends are falling away from him. Now, again, statistically, the card that I'm looking for would be the card in the middle. But as I showed you, it wasn't the card in the middle, it's the next to last card. So that means what's in the center, what showed up in the center instead of the card I'm looking for is really important. This time, it's the key. And the key is beautiful card. It's a card that answers questions, opens doors, but it also closes doors. Just saying. So we have the key in the center. We have Robert Kennedy, and we have the coffin. I think that this nomination too will be squashed. The coffin lid slammed right on it. I do not think with dog, mice, key, Kennedy, and coffin, I do not think that he will go forward either. So that's a bit of good news for our morning. Again, this channel is where I do predictions, but I also have opinions. And I will make clear when I am stating an opinion and when I am just telling you what the cards have to say. Because a lot of times it's the same thing, but a lot of times it's not. And a lot of times I can go in with certain assumption and the cards will show me something different. And I will always be very clear when that happens. I don't sugarcoat things. Um, I tell the truth as I see it in my cards and my conscience. So that's what you can know you'll get from me here. So uh, as far as I can see, um, uh, neither Gabbard nor Kennedy will move forward. Of course, that's also what I want to have happen, but that's just coincidental, right? If I had seen something different, I would have said something different. So that's what I see. Again, I'm generally right, but I am also human and fallible, and so therefore occasionally can be incorrect. We will see, I think, as early as tomorrow. Okay. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room. There's a couple of elephants in the room. The first is tariffs. Oh my gosh. Mexico and Canada, I am so sorry uh, that this buffoon, this bully has done what he's done. Now, as of my latest understanding, the tariffs with Mexico, which was a 25% tariff on imports, that imposition of that tariff has been postponed for a month as a result of conversations um, between the president of Mexico and 47. So, okay, let's look at that first. Let's look at Mexico first. Will those tariffs go forward, or is just this 47 just swinging his um, big stick around. Okay, so tariffs, I'm going to use the fish for that because fish is money. And that's essentially what tariffs come down to. When the month is up, and again, energy is mutable, so these things could change, but will the what will happen in a month with Mexico in regard to the tariffs? I understand that one of the things that the Mexican president has agreed is to send thousands of Mexican troops to the southern border. Our southern border, obviously, or their northern border, whatever, the border between us and Mexico. Uh, and then in return, I think we're supposed to um, be more vigilant about uh, drug running and gun running um, from here to Mexico. So you know what? Let's um, yeah, let's look at tariffs. So we're gonna look, well, I'm trying to think. Maybe I don't want to use fish. I think I'm going to use the letter because the letter, it's a very amorphous card. It's sort of anything in writing, but I'm assuming that there will have been paperwork around this agreement, right? Uh, we hold off on the tariffs, or we 47 holds off on the tariffs for a month. In return, uh, Mexico sends more troops to guard the border, and we are more vigilant in around drug running and gun running from here to Mexico. So let's look at that deal and how that deal will go and will hold up, because tariffs will flow or not flow from how that goes. So we're going to use the letter. Okay. And again, when I say use the letter, I just mean that that's the card I'm going to look for and sort of pour my intention into, that it be about that issue. And then we look and see what's around that card. So we're looking for the letter. Yeah. So this stands for the tentative agreement between Mexico and the United States. Okay. So the cards are the lily, the crossroads, the letter, birds, and the moon. Uh, I think that, you know, 47 has made everybody feel, as we say, some type of way about this move. And he knows that his base doesn't like it. His base is restless. He wants to keep peace because, he doesn't want to end up like Louis the 16th. You know what I mean? Off with his head. Um, because I can mirror, which means read together certain cards. So I can read together the lily with the moon. This is about reputation. And so he wants people to think, look at what a tough guy I am. And look how I made Mexico back down. And so now I can stand down. I don't have to do this thing because everybody knows that I'm a tough guy. So there can be peace between us. Um, so here we are. There was this alternate plan that came up. The original plan was to impose tariffs. Mexico was going to impose tariffs on us in return for us imposing tariffs on them. But now there's been a sort of a last minute alternative plan. He thinks he's a deal maker, right? So this is an example of him making a deal in the nick of time. Now, so to go a different way, I can mirror this card with the fourth card, which is birds. And birds is about meetings, talks, conversations. And that's what he had. Now, I think I'm just going to pull uh, clarifier each. Okay. So, again, he likes doing the carrot stick thing. So, this is him saying, okay, yeah, I'll agree to hold off. We can still be friends, etc. I think he doesn't talk tough when he's in negotiations, and I think the Mexican president, I think she did talk tough. So now he's trying to be make nice and smooth things over. Um, but he cannot be trusted. Uh, and that makes me think that this peace, so to speak, may very well not hold. Clouds is about doubts. And for us to do this to a friend, an ally, one of our closest allies, what are you doing? So he's not trusted. Um, you can only trust him as far as whatever the action is that he's done. Like whatever comes out of his mouth, uh, in terms of that conversation that he had with the president of Mexico, she's going to keep her eye on him. But for now, there's a truce, we'll call it. Canada. Now, there has apparently been one conversation between Trudeau, the prime minister, and 47. And apparently there's meant to be another one this afternoon. Both Mexico and Canada have uh, taken hardline stances, as they should, against what 47 has said that he's going to do. And again, like any bully, that makes a bully back down. I'm just saying. So let's look at Canada and these tariffs. So for this question, I'm going to look at fish because that is money. Now, one of the things that I thought was just so Canadian nice is that Canada, of course, decided that they would retaliate by slapping tariffs on the US, and they are focusing those tariffs on exports from red states. I think that's great because California didn't do this. New York didn't do it. So, the red states are going to be all big and bad and all about 47. Well, then let them pay this price. I mean, again, we'll all pay this price if it comes to that. But let's look at tariffs specifically with Canada. Okay, so this we're going to look for fish because fish is money and tariffs are money. Okay, so this is Canada, and we're looking for fish. Wow. Again, it's the second to last card. So I'm going to put it there, and then the three cards that come before it, and then the final card. Okay, so this is interesting. We have the mountain, the moon, the bear, the fish, and the tree. Okay, I may pull clarifiers, I may not, I don't know. But I'm going to say that it's interesting that this starts with the mountain. Um, uh, you know, Canadians are nice in my experience until they're not. And that's good. Good to be nice, right? And it's good to know when to say when. And I think that they will. I think that their stance, Trudeau's stance, will be firm, will be intransigent, that 47 will not get any sort of even pseudo concession from Canada the way that they kind of did from Mexico. Uh, because Canada wants it known that, they have a reputation to uphold too, and they're going to do it. Now, this card, I feel like this card, a lot of times this is my card for 47 in his most narcissistic, which is kind of always. However, do you not think of bears when you think of Canada? Because I do. And I think that this will be a real standoff. I think this card is the narcissistic 47, but I also think it is Canada saying, don't mess with us. Um, it's in the center, so I'm going to probably pull some clarifiers on this. The fourth card was the tariff card, and then we have this tree. Now, I can mirror this last card, the tree, with the mountain. And these together feel really slow, intransigent, unrelenting cards. I don't think it'll be as quick, fast, and in a hurry as it was with Mexico. And I can mirror this reputation card with the tariff card. I think that Canada will go toe to toe. You want to play that game, 47? It's on. It's on. That's what I think. Let me pull a couple of clarifiers. I'll let you watch me do that. Interesting. Okay. So on this bear, the clarifiers that I pulled were tower, the young man, and the crossroads. I kind of like these for Canada. So, this is Canada. This is the Canadian government. I mean, I know it's kind of in flux, but this is Canada being, you know, having a straight spine about this. Um, Being autonomous and making clear, no, we're not your 51st state. What are you doing? Just asserting their authority. And in a pretty, I mean, good for Canada, in a pretty assertive way. I'm not going to say aggressive, although 47 will read it as aggressive, but in a pretty assertive way. They're stepping to the bully. Uh, and I think the bully will have to go a different way. Now, on the tariffs themselves, we have the stars, the child, and the dog. I think 47 will say, um, okay, so moving forward, future, how about if I lower the tariffs? Instead of 25%, it'll be less. Because, can't we all get along? Can't we be friends? In other words, he's it's like any bully. If you step to a bully, a lot of times they run with their tails, but their tails between their legs. I think that Canada could really give 47 a run for his money. Now we have this tree, and we have the fox, the cross, and the scythe. These are tough cards. This has been our relatively healthy relationship to date, prior to all of this. But now Canada cannot trust 47. And that will mean that they don't they won't see us the same way. There may not be the kind of friendly reciprocity between our countries that there always has been, which crushes me, I have to say. I have many friends in Canada. I love Canada. Matter of fact, the day after the election, there's a video on it right before I flew out, uh, got on the plane. The day after the election, I did a video about the election and then went to Canada for a week. It was for work, but it was really good to be among Canadians. I'm a big fan of Canada. But I think that this will mark a turning point in our relationship and not for the better, which is not to say that it can't turn back around, but um, certainly for the length of 47's tenure, as long or as short as that may be, our relationship uh, with Canada will be um, troubled. Yeah. Now, I can mirror the very first card in the line, that was the mountain, with the very last card that I pulled, which is the scythe. And I like this. I don't think that I always say trouble don't last always. Trouble don't last always. 47 won't last always. Entertainment purposes only. Um, so this will not be for all time, but I do think it will color uh, Canada's goodwill moving forward, no matter who our president is. I mean, listen, we have an election every 4 years, so you know, nothing is written in stone ever. It's very sad, but I am happy to see Canada will hold her own against 47. And Canada, I know you know, this is not all of us. This is, well, a lot of us are as upset about this as you are. Okay. The final thing I'd like to look at is um, Musk, who has, of course, now gained access to our financial system and, our social security system and all of that. And he's got some team in there going through everything. This is a very young team who worked for him prior to coming into government. Now, Marianne and I looked at this question as to whether or not Musk was going to be able to sort of infiltrate the system in that way. And I went first, and if you watch the video, it's the one right before this. Um, the first card that I pulled was the mountain. And the question we asked was, would he be stopped? Would Musk be stopped before he could get in? And I said, no, he wouldn't be stopped. I thought that with that mountain there, especially at the beginning of the line, people would try. And apparently there were officials who did try, but it didn't work. And all of the cards that I pulled after that one, the other four cards, led me to believe that he got in there, he got the information that he wanted, he was able to plug into whatever he wanted to plug into, and there you go. I mean, how is this not a kind of a coup? I mean, and it doesn't matter that it is at the behest of the president, right? I mean, it is a coup against democracy. So and meanwhile, Musk is out there doing his racist. Well, anyway, I would like to look at Musk and see what his trajectory is moving forward. I mean, he should be under Guantanamo, in my opinion, or put him in the same cell that they had Mandela in. How about that? Put him on Robben Island, right? like, throw him out of the country and deport him, and then put him in Mandela's cell so he can find God. Because all right, so what is Musk's trajectory at this point? Okay. Looking for the young man. I know he's not young. I said this many times. People are like, why are you using the young man? He's not young. I know he's not young, but he has that brash, immature, I could do what I want energy that you sometimes see in young men. So that's the card that I'm using. Okay. All right. Oops. So here he is. This is Musk. The two cards that precede him and the two cards that follow him. And I am going to pull some clarifiers, but let's look at what we've got to start with. The Mountain, the Scales. This is the card, the extra card that I added to the Lenormand system. The traditional Lenormand does not have the Scales card, but I asked my artist to create for me a scale that had very light daisies, just a couple on one side, and heavy coins on the other. And I asked that the scale be evenly balanced. We all know that according to physics, that's an impossibility, but not according to metaphysics, an ideal in metaphysics, right? So it is the card for, yes, for balance, for justice, for cost benefit analysis, um, all of that. So we have the mountain, we have the scale, we have Musk, we have the book, and we have the moon. And I find these two cards concerning. And so these are the ones I'm going to draw clarifiers on. And I may well draw clarifiers on Musk also. So why am I concerned? Well, again, like in that reading that I did with Marianne, look what comes first. It's the mountain. That sounds great because you might want to say, oh, good. So this is blocking everything that comes after. Mm, no, because even though there's a block, everything comes after, right? I feel much better if this card, as I said in the video yesterday, if this card had been at the end of the line. It means that all he tries to do all his dirt and he gets stopped. But no, it comes at the beginning of the line. So people have tried to stop him, and there will be legal challenges to what he will have done. But the thing is, he will have done it, is the point. He will have all the information that he needs, even if he gets slapped on the wrist by Congress. So there he is in the middle. But the book and the moon, we don't know. The book, even though the book, you and I know books as things that hold information. The Lenormand book is not like that, believe it or not. The Lenormand book is about things we don't know, things that are hidden, things that are secretive, etc. We don't know what his intentions are in getting into that system. He's, he says, Doge, which by the way is not a government entity, it's just a 47 invented entity, and it's supposed to root out overspending and misspending, etc. But really, he's getting access to all our private financial and other information. We don't know what he's going to do with that. So I think what I'm going to do is pull some clarifiers on that. I mean, I would love to have seen a line that said, oh, yeah, he's going to jail. He's going to be deported. That's it. But that's not what I see. So let's look. I'm going to pull clarifiers on him, on Musk himself. I'm going to pull clarifiers on the book, and I'm going to pull clarifiers on the moon. So, it looks like this is sort of, we are in the middle of this story. This is not going to give us an answer on, well, what happens in the end with Musk? Because we're not meant to see that part yet. We're still in the midst of this story. So here he is, and the clarifiers for him are the fox, the garden, and the snake. Yeah, Musk, the fox, has been let into the hen house, the information base for all our stuff, and he means us no good. That's a fact. Snake, it's a problem. Then I pulled on the books about things we don't know, like what's he up to? What's he doing? We have the child, we have the clouds, and we have the stork. Okay, so what's he doing? We don't know. Something new that will continue to be hidden from us. But isn't it interesting that we have the stork here? Because a stork means positive change. Now, of course, he will argue, yeah, I'm trying to root out inefficiency. That's an improvement. I'm trying to save the government money. But don't forget that snake. Don't forget that fox. Um, I think with the clouds coming before the stork, he wants to give the appearance that things will improve, but don't trust that man behind the curtain. And then I pull cards on the moon and fish, ship, house. I think that what he wants to do is create yet another way to siphon money away from us and to 47 and himself and himself. Now, the good news is that I can mirror the very first card with this, but again, I would so have preferred to see it the other way around, that all his dirt gets stopped. Um, you know, Congress needs to act and people need to be in the streets. And what I heard somebody say, it was some article, I can't remember who it was, but said that the reason that Congress has not acted is that there are not people in the streets. So, I'm not the magic Negro. I am not the person that can come up with all the answers for how to solve these problems. I took the weekend off because, after Friday, I did the Friday readings. I think I read for maybe 60 people. That's a lot. 60 people in the span of 2 hours. Um, so I was exhausted. Marianne and I had recorded our conversation the day before, but I took the weekend off because uh, I didn't watch news or anything because these are exhausting times for everyone, for all of us. And so I advise you to do your self-care, um, stay in community, uh, both in real life and online. And if here is where you feel that you have found community, I am really gratified by that. I'm happy about that. Um, and then look for action steps that you can take. Obviously, write to your congressmen, your senators, to communicate your thoughts on what's going on. I think that can never hurt. Um, there are lots of boycotts that are being waged around the country. If there are marches, you should go. I will say that as an American, it does concern me a little bit that there's so much threat to free speech. Uh, and I know a lot of people have gone underground and are not talking about these kinds of things publicly on YouTube. My theory is that I mean, isn't that why I'm given this gift and this voice? I don't mean the gravelly part of my voice, but I mean, isn't this why I've been given the gift of sight and and words to communicate what I see through the cards? So I will keep doing this as long as I need to, and as long as you all will have me. Um, if they rip me out of my house and drag me someplace, well, okay. Um, like I think too many people are operating out of fear, and I think this is just one life of many that I've had. And in this life, I'm called to do this work in this moment. And so I am really grateful to all of you for your support, your kind words, your sharing, your liking, your subscribing. I'm loving the way the channel's growing. Uh, I always want to give back. And so please put your questions in the comment section. And if I think I can answer them, I will. And in the meantime, again, self-care and activism. Those should be the two watchwords for all of us in these difficult times. And I will see you very soon. Take care.